Archangel Michael says, there is a shadow lingering where light should be, a figure that refuses to move on. For 3 consecutive nights, his presence has been fixed, unyielding, as though bound to the ground beneath him. His silence carries a weight, and the reason behind it is not something your heart is ready to accept easily. The first night, you thought it was a coincidence, just a passerby, perhaps lost, maybe looking for directions. But his eyes were too still, locked not on the street, but on your very door, as if he could see through the wood and into your life. You turned away, pretending not to notice, yet every nerve in your body whispered that this was no ordinary man. The second night came, and with it, a colder wind that seemed to carry his breath into your home even though the windows were closed. His stance had not shifted, his clothes the same, his shoes planted as though cemented to the earth. It was as if time outside your door had frozen, while the rest of the world moved on. By the third night, you could no longer ignore the pressure in the air. The sound of his boots scuffing faintly against the ground was deliberate, enough to let you know he was still there, but never loud enough to draw attention from anyone else. The quiet was a message, a warning, and a promise all at once. Type Amen to get blessing 333. There is something unnerving about the way his eyes follow the faint movement behind your curtains. He is not here to harm you in the way most people would imagine. His mission is deeper, stranger, and tied to something you have yet to uncover. The air around him feels charged, like it's holding words that can't be spoken yet. You try to distract yourself, but his image lingers even when you turn away. His presence has started to seep into your dreams, replaying his stillness in a loop you cannot escape. No matter how far you try to pull your thoughts, they circle back to the figure outside. There's a rhythm to his silence, almost as though he is waiting for a signal only you can give. Your spirit senses the truth, that his reason for being here is older than the walls around you, older than your own understanding of the forces at play. He is here because something in your life has reached its turning point. If you look closely, you will see that the shadows at his feet seem longer than they should be, stretching unnaturally toward your home. They curl and shift like fingers reaching for the doorway, as though trying to make contact without crossing the threshold. Something, or someone, has sent him to you, and the reason is about to change everything. Type Amen to get blessing 517. On the street, no other passerby reacts to him. It's as if only you can see him fully, while to the rest of the world, he is invisible or unremarkable. This realization sends a shiver through you, because it means his presence is not an accident, it is personal. When your lights flicker for the first time that evening, your instincts sharpen. The timing is too perfect, the air too still, the sensation too heavy to dismiss. This is the moment you realize his arrival is not random, it is connected to a message that has been trying to reach you. You sense that he knows something about your past, something you never thought would resurface. His stillness, his silence, his refusal to step away are all deliberate acts to force you into awareness. He is not here to ask permission, he is here to deliver inevitability. And yet, despite the unease, there is an odd thread of familiarity in his presence, as though somewhere deep in your soul, you recognize the outline of who he is, or what he represents. That familiarity is dangerous, because it tempts you to step closer. Type Amen to get blessing 842. He doesn't move toward you, but every subtle twitch in his posture feels like a command. You are being drawn toward an invisible line, one you didn't even know existed, between the safety of your home and the unknown outside. And the truth is, once you cross it, there will be no going back. The reason he has stood there for 3 nights is wrapped in layers of timing. He could not come sooner, and he cannot stay much longer without the balance shifting. The 3rd night was always meant to be the night you noticed, fully and without distraction. The sound of your clock becomes louder, ticking in sync with your quickened heartbeat. You can feel the air changing as if the very atmosphere is waiting for you to make a choice. He remains silent, but silence is often the loudest answer. Your thoughts begin to blur, yet one thing stands out clearly: you will either open that door tonight, or you will never know why he came. And that choice will haunt you forever. Type Amen to get blessing 109. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, the moment you step closer to the window, his head tilts slightly, just enough to confirm he knows you are watching. That small movement feels more powerful than a shout, more dangerous than a threat. You are now a part of this silent exchange, locked in a game you never agreed to play. Your hands grip the curtain tighter, feeling the fabric strain under your fingers. The streetlight behind him flickers, casting his shadow forward until it nearly touches your door. It's as though the night itself is allowing him to reach you without moving a step. Something inside you whispers that you've seen him before, not in person, but in an image, a photograph, or perhaps a dream you had years ago. The familiarity gnaws at you, demanding you remember where. The harder you try, the closer the memory feels, yet it refuses to come fully into view. Your body reacts before your mind catches up, your breath shortens, your muscles tense, and your instincts tell you that tonight's stillness will not end without a shift. A choice is coming, and both options carry weight you are not prepared for. The question is not whether something will happen, but when. Type Amen to get blessing 467. He does not blink as the wind picks up around him, pulling at his coat in sharp bursts. The rest of the street remains calm, untouched, as though the breeze is meant only for him and the invisible space between you. You realize then that his world and yours are overlapping, just enough for this moment to exist. You step back from the window, hoping distance will break the spell, but his presence clings to your mind. Even in the next room, you can feel him, an energy pressing at the walls, testing the boundaries. There is no comfort in the corners of your own home anymore. That's when you hear it. 3 deliberate knocks, not on the door, but somewhere deeper. They echo through you rather than through the air, as if the sound bypassed the wood and went straight into your chest. It is not an invitation, it is a demand. Your pulse races, but you find yourself frozen. The air tastes heavier, the silence sharper, and yet, you know this moment has been building long before tonight. Whatever reason he's here for, it's been following you far longer than you've been aware. Type Amen to get blessing 299. There is a shift in the way he stands now, subtle, but unmistakable. His shoulders square, his chin lifts, and for the first time, you see the faint outline of something in his hand. The shape is hard to discern, but it glints under the weak light like a fragment of a memory trying to surface. A sudden thought hits you: he's not here to take something from you, he's here to return something you've lost. The problem is, you don't remember losing it. That makes his presence all the more unsettling. The seconds stretch into something heavier, denser. You can almost hear the space between heartbeats as you watch him take one slow step closer, not toward the door, but toward a place where his shadow could fully touch yours. That's when you feel it, the pull. Your instincts scream to step away, but your feet stay rooted. A part of you is drawn in, curious, almost desperate to know why his eyes feel like they've been searching for you for years. And you understand now, if you turn away tonight, the chance to know will be gone forever. Type Amen to get blessing 581. Your breathing becomes shallow as you realize the distance between you and the door feels shorter than it ever has. The walls seem to lean in, the floor feels alive beneath your feet, and every sound in the house has gone silent. Even the ticking clock seems to have stopped to listen. His eyes never waver, locked on a point only he understands. It's not just that he's watching you, it's that he's watching something through you, as though you're a gate he's been waiting to open. That thought alone makes your spine shiver. You notice that his lips are barely moving, like he's speaking words meant for someone else. You can't hear them, but the rhythm of his mouth suggests they are repeated over and over like a prayer, or a curse. Every repetition seems to draw the night closer to your door. The shadow beneath him starts to stretch unnaturally, curling along the pavement until it reaches the base of your steps. It moves like a living thing, testing the boundary, seeing how far it can go without crossing inside. You feel the weight of something ancient pressing against your home. Type Amen to get blessing 712. A sudden thud upstairs makes your heart jolt, but you know you're alone in the house. You tell yourself it's the old wood settling, but deep down, you know that sound wasn't accidental. Something is responding to his presence outside. The lights dim, not fully going out, but softening in a way that feels intentional. Your reflection in the window is faint, almost swallowed by the darkness outside, and for a moment, you wonder if he can see your thoughts as clearly as he can see your face. Archangel Michael says, the veil between you and the truth is thinning faster than you think. The third night was never about him waiting. It was about you being ready. If you had seen him before tonight, the shock would have been too much to bear. You sense movement in the distance, a car passes, a dog barks, but none of it reaches this small, contained space between you and him. It's as if this moment exists in its own pocket of time, and everything else has been pushed away to let it happen. Type Amen to get blessing 406. His head tilts again, slower this time, and you finally catch a glimpse of his eyes under the dim light. They are sharp, not just in color but in focus, as if they have been trained to lock on one thing and never let go. The weight of his gaze feels like a hand pressing against your chest. You see now that the object in his hand isn't a weapon, it's a folded piece of paper, worn at the edges, like it has been handled too many times. The way he grips it tells you it's important, maybe the only thing keeping him rooted to that spot. You think about opening the door, but something stops you. Not fear exactly, but the knowledge that once the space between you closes, whatever is in that paper will change everything you believe about your life. The paper seems to hum with its own energy, almost pulsing in the faint light. He doesn't raise it, doesn't offer it, but he holds it where you can see it, just enough to make sure you know it exists. Type Amen to get blessing 982. The air feels denser now, thick enough to almost taste. You sense that if you listen closely, you might hear something in it, a faint vibration, like a sound too low for human ears. It seeps into your bones and keeps you frozen in place. Every second feels like an unspoken countdown. He doesn't need to speak for you to understand. This night is the turning point. Whatever happens after this will be marked in your memory forever. Your hands twitch at your sides, unsure whether they want to push the door open or bolt it shut. Your mind races between the two choices, and yet both feel equally irreversible. The decision is clawing at you from the inside. Somewhere in your chest, a strange calm rises, not because the danger is gone, but because your soul already knows what's coming. You have been walking toward this moment for longer than you realize. Type Amen to get blessing 159. Your fingers hover above the bolt, feeling the cool metal pulse with your pulse. The house seems to listen, the walls holding their breath as if they know what stands outside. The night narrows into a single line between your hand and the handle. He lifts the folded paper just enough for the light to graze its edges. The paper is creased at exact intervals, as if folded by ritual and not by habit. A faint stamp sits on one corner, almost erased by time yet stubborn in its meaning. You sense an imprint on the paper that belongs to you. Not ink, not pencil, but the impression of your name as if pressed from the other side of memory. It sits there like a promise you never knew you were given. A soft hum rises from nowhere and settles into your bones. The hum is not sound but recognition, a reminder that some messages arrive without words. The air accepts this recognition and holds it steady. Type Amen to get blessing 774. He shifts his weight in a way that suggests the wait is over. The third night has always been the signal of completion, the seal of readiness, the threshold where hesitation dissolves. You stand at that threshold whether the door opens or not. The light from the street spills across the paper and reveals 3 marks running along the fold. The marks are not scratches but deliberate cuts, the kind that release what was locked on the inside. He turns the paper slightly, inviting your eyes to learn its language. Your heart steadies as if guided by unseen hands. The steadiness does not remove the gravity but makes space for courage. The courage moves through your chest like a key gliding into place. You loosen your grip on fear and let stillness anchor your feet. Outside, he waits without impatience, as if time has finally returned to its proper shape. The moment stops running and begins to stand. Type Amen to get blessing 221. You unlock the door but do not open it yet. The click is quiet, but it lands like thunder in your awareness. On the other side, a presence accepts your decision and honors it. He lowers the paper, not to hide it, but to bring it closer to the line that separates you. The paper seems to brighten without light, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. It asks for your consent without a single word. The night wraps the two of you in a circle that excludes everything else. No traffic, no footsteps, no casual interruptions disturb this point of contact. The world steps back to let destiny step forward. Your hand finds the handle again and draws the door a fraction open. The gap is small, but its meaning is immense. Air from the outside crosses your threshold and settles like a pledge. Type Amen to get blessing 945. He does not press forward, and you do not retreat. The gap remains sacred, allowing passage only to the purpose that brought him. The purpose arrives like a quiet flame that does not burn but illuminates. He lifts the paper to the gap, and you reach out. Your fingers brush the edge, and a memory stirs that you did not know you still carried. It feels like recognizing a familiar face in a crowd after years of searching without admitting it. You take the paper and hold it to your chest before you unfold it. The gesture is instinct, a way of claiming what already belongs to you. The paper warms slightly as if grateful to be home. He lowers his eyes in a gesture of respect and steps back a single pace. The distance tells you that the message is yours alone to open. The right to know has passed fully into your hands. Type Amen to get blessing 368. You close the door gently, not out of fear, but to meet the message in the quiet. The house receives you and the paper as if it has prepared for this exact moment. Every wall seems to soften to hold what is about to be revealed. The first fold opens with the softness of fabric. Inside the crease, you see a name written in ink that has survived many winters. The name belongs to someone who loved you in silence and in strength. The second fold opens, and a small key slips out into your palm. The key is old but polished by intention, carrying the warmth of many prayers. It nestles into your hand like it finally found where it was meant to rest. The third fold opens, and the page breathes. Lines of writing flow across in a hand that is steady, patient, and certain. The certainty moves through you and steadies your breath. Type Amen to get blessing 530. The letter begins with a blessing that speaks your name with care. Your name is written as if it carries a crown you never asked to wear. The crown does not glitter, but it fits. The next lines explain that 3 nights were chosen for alignment. Night 1 awakened your awareness, Night 2 tested your resolve, Night 3 sealed your permission. The sealing now opens a path that cannot be closed. A sentence emerges with the force of truth. The man outside is a sentinel, not a stranger, assigned to deliver what was kept for you when you could not keep it yourself. He stands where you might have fallen and holds what you might have lost. The letter names a place and a number that have followed you quietly for years. You see both and realize they have always been nearby, hidden in plain sight. Recognition arrives like a door swinging inward without a sound. Type Amen to get blessing 118. He remains outside, steady as a milestone. The steadiness reassures you that the delivery is complete, yet his posture says there is more. The more is not heavy but precise. You keep reading as the words begin to reveal the reason that will shake you. A long-guarded secret surfaces, moving like a river that always ran under your life. The river finally breaks the ground and shows its shape. The letter tells you your life was altered by hands you trusted. Your name was removed from a list that guided an inheritance of safety, not money. The removal placed you in shadows you were never meant to walk. The man outside was assigned to return your name to its rightful place. Not in a ledger, but on a path. The path leads to protection that recognizes you by design and not by request. Type Amen to get blessing 7744. You turn the page and a seal appears in faded wax. The seal is broken now because tonight is the appointed time. The wax carries the impression of a symbol that once marked your doorway in the unseen. The letter names the symbol as a ward that belongs to your bloodline. The ward blesses your house when your name is unaltered and your steps are aligned. Your steps were diverted, and the ward was veiled. The sentinel's arrival lifts the veil. His 3 knights reattach the ward to your ground, restoring the claim that was always yours. The ground beneath your house exhales a breath you can finally feel. A small drawing sits beneath the seal, showing the exact place to place the key. The place is not a lock in the ordinary sense. It is a point where your house and your promise meet. Type Amen to get blessing 630. You hold the key and feel the grooves press gently into your skin. The grooves are familiar, carved as if they learned the shape of your hand before you were born. The familiarity does not frighten you, it confirms you. The letter guides you to a wall where the paint hides a narrow slot. The slot was made years ago by a craftsman who worked under instruction from the one who wrote to you. The instruction was to create a safeguard that did not look like a safe. You run your fingers across the wall. You slide the key into the slot, and the wall accepts it without sound. A panel releases with the ease of a held breath finally let go. The space inside is small but purposeful. Type Amen to get blessing 284. Inside the opening lies a folded cloth wrapped around another paper and a silver token. The cloth smells faintly of cedar and rain, like something kept with love rather than fear. The token carries the same symbol as the seal. You unwrap the paper and see a map drawn with careful strokes. The map is not of roads but of rooms and thresholds, of corners that gather light and corners that gather silence. The thresholds are marked as if they were living. A line on the map traces a route from the front door to the heart of the house. The line edges around the places where you stand strongest. Those places are marked with tiny script that spells the word kept. The silver token warms in your palm as your eyes follow the route. The warmth climbs your wrist and steadies your shoulder blades. Your posture rises into its true height without struggle. Type Amen to get blessing 956. You read the final paragraph of the letter. The words explain that the sentinel will remain until the token completes its circuit through the house. He will stand guard until the ward knows your name again by light and not by shadow. The letter instructs you to walk the line on the map with the token in your hand. Each step seals the places that were opened against you. Each seal returns what was taken from your quiet. Your breath falls into rhythm, and the rooms begin to remember you. The memory returns to the walls, to the doorways, to the floorboards that creak with affection rather than alarm. You feel the welcome rising from below your feet. You begin to walk, slow and sure. With each step, the token gives a gentle pulse like a heartbeat synchronized to your own. The pulses lay a path that will not fray. Type Amen to get blessing 341. The route brings you back to the front door. The sentinel still stands, patient and precise, as if measuring the new alignment from where he is posted. You feel his watchfulness without feeling watched. You place your hand on the door and feel a warmth spread across the wood. The wood takes your imprint and sets it like a signature. The signature settles into the threshold and calms the air. Through the glass, his eyes lift as if he senses the completion. He does not require thanks, and you do not owe any debt. Exchange is replaced by fulfillment. You lift the token to the level of your heart and let its warmth reach your throat. Your voice does not speak, but the silence around you speaks enough for both. The house hears and answers. Type Amen to get blessing 705. The map instructs one final act. You return to the opened panel and place the token back inside, now carrying your imprint. The space accepts it the way soil accepts a seed. You close the panel and rest your palm against the wall. The hush that follows is alive, like a field in the moment before dawn. The living quiet spreads through the beams and settles in every nail. Outside, the sentinel takes one slow step backward. The step is not retreat but release. Release bows to completion and completion bows to peace. You open the door and look toward him with calm eyes. He stands at the edge of the light, briefer now, cleaner in outline. The work has turned his shape into a message that can return to its source. Type Amen to get blessing 417. He raises his hand in a gesture that feels older than greetings. The gesture blesses the threshold and the road and your name. The blessing reaches your ribs and anchors there. He turns without haste and begins to walk. Each step feels like a page turning in a book you have finally learned to read. The night accepts his leaving without sorrow. You stand in the doorway and listen to the new silence. The silence is no longer sharp, it is soft, layered, and secure. It cradles what must be kept and lets go of what does not belong. The letter rests on your table, its final lines shining with quiet authority. They say that your path is restored and your standing is clean. Clean standing draws clean days. Type Amen to get blessing 882. You carefully refold the paper along the same ancient lines. The folds carry no weight now because the weight has been lifted. The creases become history rather than burden. The house feels taller, as if ceiling and sky have settled into rightful distance. Your chest opens in a way that makes breathing feel like praise. The praise is not spoken, it is lived. You walk to the window and see the street at ease again. The trees sway in a rhythm that belongs to ordinary nights. Ordinary finally feels like a miracle. You close the curtains, not to hide, but to rest. Rest arrives like a friend who knows the exact hour to come and the exact hour to leave. The hour now belongs to you. Type Amen to get blessing 264. You return the key to the place that keeps it. The place is not secret anymore, it is sacred. Sacred things glow without announcement. The letter's seal, broken and true, lies beside a small candle you never noticed before. The candle sits where the map said the light gathers. Light gathers where belonging is restored. You touch the wick and feel a warmth that exists even without flame. The warmth is permission to live without the old shadows. Permission accepted becomes practice. You breathe in the room's new stillness. Stillness is not empty, it is full. Full rooms hold steady lives. Type Amen to get blessing 736. Outside, dawn hints at the horizon with a line of pale silver. The silver on your palm remembers the token even though it rests inside the wall. Memory is proof, and proof is gentle when it is on your side. The sentinel will not return unless the ward is challenged again. The certainty of this does not frighten you, it equips you. Equipped souls do not beg, they build. You sweep your gaze across the rooms that now know your name by light. Every corner seems to nod in quiet agreement. Agreement ends confusion without argument. You pour a glass of water and let the day arrive at its own pace. The day will move like a river that has found its old bed. The current is strong, but it carries you and does not drag you. Type Amen to get blessing 511. You fold the map and keep it near the letter. The two belong together the way truth belongs with timing. Timing kept you safe even when you thought you were forgotten. A final line from the letter settles in your mind. It says the reason he stood outside was loyalty, not intrusion. Loyalty stands at the edge until your permission draws it in. The 3 nights were the measure of your readiness. Readiness is quiet, not loud. Quiet things last. You straighten the table, smooth the cloth, and set the letter beneath your hand. Your hand no longer trembles. The tremor has been replaced by a steady note that will not break. Type Amen to get blessing 389. You walk to the door once more and press your palm to the wood. The wood answers with a warmth that was missing for years. The missing has returned and now it stays. The street is empty except for the first bird balancing on a wire. The bird watches the light grow and agrees to sing later. Agreement is enough for now. You close the door and secure the lock with calm intention. The lock feels like ceremony, not fear. Ceremony honors what has been restored. Your steps carry you to the center of the room where the map marked kept. You stand there and feel the floor rise by a breath. The breath welcomes you home to your own name. Type Amen to get blessing 803.